Kiko, and I have been on the raw vegan diet for over 21 years, and it's actually exactly 21 years ago in September. That's the time I started. I tried 100% raw vegan for a few weeks, and here I am. Celebrating, I guess, 21 years of fully raw, time to time with Bella. And Bella, we're doing this weekly podcast, and this is our second one. I'm super excited to do this food combining topic this week. So, Bella, how are you?
Hello, Kiko. I'm good. It's so good to see you. I'm just going to turn my notifications off real quick so you don't get any beeps. But yeah, I'm really good. I'm finally feeling settled, somewhat into my new home and starting to get back into my exercise routines. It's thrown me off. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. You're amazing. I mean, you've got furniture and you're doing amazing with this moving.
I'm trying. I'm trying. It's mostly mental, really. It's just a psychological. I've been calling it my Zen exercise. Just trying to it's a good excuse to work through stressors.
Yeah, these, moving is definitely it's sort of like a shaker, and those are the great moments to ground ourselves and find the base, which
Hmm.
is raw vegan for us. So,
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
speaking of, I remember. So I know that we've talked about. We're still kind of getting used to this whole format, and we're trying to come up with a structure. And you did a lovely job introducing yourself and describing your raw food journey briefly. And I realize I'm supposed to do the same thing. We talked about doing that. So I'll mention that I've been plant based for about 30 years, almost 30 years, not quite, but almost. And I've been vegan for, last time I counted, it was around 26 years, I think. And then I've been raw for about 11 years. And as we discussed last week, it's been mostly a high raw journey. But I'm also a certified raw food educator, which is why I love being able to come on here with you and talk about all this fun stuff.
That's fantastic. I have such a huge respect for someone like you because, like, doing this plant-based, like, almost 30 years ago and 26 years of vegan, because it's not the same as starting vegan, eating vegan now to back then, because back then there was like, you were taking weirdo, you had to go through very weird situations, and that you are certified mastering this what was the name of the course by Rick and Karen Dina, mastering the raw
Mastering
food
raw food nutrition.
nutrition. Yeah, and they're very hardcore, the full
Hmm.
year of course, and I really have high respect for whoever has finished that course. So, and that's one of the reason I love connecting with you, because you're full of knowledge with your own experience. So food combining, that's very interesting. I think it's something we need to learn, especially when we embark with this raw vegan journey.
Hmm.
uh, First, I think I used to eat fruits after finishing a heavy meal. When you go out and eat, they give you as a dessert or like a mouth refresher, and that doesn't go well with a heavy food, like oil and citrus food. That could upset the stomach. So, you wanna mention? You wanna
For
share
sure.
from your story?
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you know a little bit about food combining, and you've experimented a little bit with the principles. Am I right? Okay.
I was very hardcore on that. I've read quite a few of food combination. I don't do. I have to check on myself, but for me, it's, yeah. It depends on the stage. I have to. be mindful, but I'm not following 100%. But I have the base of what not to mix.
Okay, yeah. I went through a phase of a few years of experimenting with food combining from just my own personal experience, just to see what it was like, if it made any kind of a difference. I learned about it a few years into going raw. I read two different books. One was called The Raw Food Detox Diet by Natalia Rose, and the other book was The Beauty Detox Diet by Kimberly Snyder. Both of them, both of these ladies have a very similar philosophy. And I would later come to understand that it was based on food combining principles. If they mentioned that term in the book, it kind of like went past me. I didn't really think about it being a whole system that existed before those books. But then when I learned about it in a more formal setting, I found it very interesting, because when I tried the practices based on those two books, I found really, really good results. I really appreciated the way I felt following these principles, and we'll talk a little. I'll explain the principles as I've come to understand them. But when I took a more formal course, I came to learn that there's really no scientific evidence to support that it's 100% true for everybody that food combining principles not only work but are necessary. So when I think about this, just as like a little side note, I just kind of wanted to say that last week I said something about how all of this stuff we talk about is part of my philosophy. And I tend to think of nutritional science as being a soft science and a philosophy. Because what I mean by soft science, I majored in a soft science in college. I majored in sociology. And so in the soft sciences, you use the scientific method to try to find information, but you'll never get a concrete universal yes or no to any question. There will always be variables. It's not a hard science. A hard science, you can use mathematical formulas to get a 100% of the time this is true. 100% of the time this isn't true. And with nutritional science, the reason why it's so maddening for a lot of people is because they'll read a book on like food combining principles, and it's sort of written in a way as if it were a hard science. And then you'll start to hear people talk about food combining as if it's a hard science. But then you'll hear other people talk about how, well, I eat fruit after my savory dinner and I'm fine. There are no problems, there are no consequences. So I think it's still kind of a fun topic to learn about and explore, because if you're somebody with digestion problems, then this actually could be very beneficial. You might find some help in this department.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Find
do
that
you
to be
mind?
true.
Do you mind writing up that two books that you mentioned about food combining, by one by Natalie, the
Natalia Rose.
Natalia? Yeah. So maybe I can add it into our description
That's a
later.
good idea.
Mhm.
I'll write them both down. They're both really good. I especially loved the the beauty detox diet by Kimberly Snyder. I really, really like her.
Mm.
And she is mostly raw, mostly 100% plant-based. And she used to be raw back in she might have been in New York at the same time as you, Kiko. She was
Ah,
going through the raw phase at the same time as you back in the early days of the raw food. Like, I
ah,
say early days, I mean like the resurgence of the raw food movement in New York.
cool.
Um, but yeah, I think and she's such a shiny example. Like, she's so glowing all the time. So you can see that the food combining principles really work for her. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll write them down for you. And in
Oh,
fact,
great.
I made a few notes to make sure. I don't know if I'm allowed to share screens. I see a button for me to do that. So when the time comes, would you mind if I shared a chart on the screen?
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay, great. I made a chart of, uh,
Nice.
I'll explain first the basic principles, and then I'll explain what the chart is. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So food combining is a very simple theory to try and understand. But first of all, it's good to know that it originated during the natural hygiene movement, which began sometime in the 1830s. 1830s, so a long time ago. A lot of things have changed since then. We have different methods of testing certain things. And so one prominent part of the theory has been debunked, which is that, okay, so we have every whole food contains the macros: carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. Every whole food contains this, which is why it kind of gets on my nerves whenever people refer to meat or tofu or beans as proteins, because it's like, I'm so technical. Like, okay, yeah, it's like predominantly protein, but they also have a lot of carbohydrates and they even have a little bit of fat. So you can't really escape any of those three macros. And so the theory that's been debunked in the food combining philosophy is that when you eat a food in the protein group, and food combining does organize foods into groups. It organizes into fruits, proteins, starches, low starch vegetables, and fats. And I'll explain what those are. And I'll be specific in just a minute. But there are different enzymes that your pancreas releases to break down fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. A specific enzyme for each one. And so the food combining philosophy says that if you eat a food in the protein category, like beans or tofu or tempeh, then only that enzyme for breaking down proteins is released. But actually, the pancreas releases all three enzymes, because it makes sense, because every whole food contains carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So your pancreas releases the enzymes to break down everything contained in the whole food. It doesn't matter if it's dominant fat, dominant protein, or dominant carbohydrate. But with that said, there is something that I have always found really interesting and convincing about the food combining philosophy. And it's that, and this is the chart I wanted to show, is that each food group digests at a certain rate. Let me go ahead and share the screen and I'll talk about it. Hopefully I can. Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. Let me try this again. Okay, so okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, it says unable to share screen. Huh. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I was mentioning that there was the 21st Century Homestay. Say hello, hello.
Oh, hello.
Yes, but all the bad combination are so yummiest. It's so true. That's why, like, sugary, fat, starchy, like donuts or like deep fried thing, right?
Yes.
Oil, sugar, always that's the combination.
Even beans and rice, which is a no-no in food combining. Yeah, because it's I mean, you could argue, we could go back and forth and debate this actually, but because they both contain a lot of starch, which is why you could argue that it's totally fine. But because the beans contain higher levels of protein, and the rice contains a higher level of carbohydrate, that they would not suit each other. And I have to say that in the years when I was experimenting with this, I found that beans in my salad behaved better than beans combined with rice when I digest. I'm trying to be polite here in my language.
That's interesting because I thought that rice and beans supposed to help with. I definitely don't feel good after eating rice and beans, and I felt quite heavy. Like I have to be very mindful of the quantity, and yeah, I would feel quite heavy with that combination. So beans. So I usually have a bad association of beans because beans I would usually just eat it with rice. That's that's
Mm-hmm.
usually the combination here in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Apple, they say hello, hello. So
Hello, Apple.
do you want to send me the file? Maybe you can send it to me over either email or Instagram, and then I can. You have to usually download it and share.
All right, we're learning how this works, everybody. Let me go ahead and screenshot this. Oh no, I can't screenshot that. Hmm.
So Apple, they say I first learned about food combination in the 80s. Wow. She's
Wow.
like so like light here ahead. She surprised impressed me. And she's learned it from Herbie and yeah, the Marilyn Diamond in their book Fit for Life, right? Ah,
Yes,
yeah, that's like a Bible for plant-based history.
it sure is. Yeah, I never read their book, but
Ah,
I remember I've read about that book. I've read about their philosophy, and I remember reading about them. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. This is very much in line with all the stuff I vibe with when it comes to. Okay, so let me just see if I can get this. Sorry, everybody. I'm a little slow with tech, but then once I get it, I promise I'm in there. It's always a
it's
little.
so good, yeah. So for raw vegans, right, the rice and bean is not possible. We do wild rice, but wild rice is not exactly the same category, is it?
Hmm, I mean, technically, but I don't think it really is the same thing. I think you're right. The interesting thing about being a raw vegan is I noticed that it's just kind of like by default perfect food combining, with the exception of fruit. So we have to talk about fruit. I'm just
Mm.
making this. All right, I'm going to send this to you. Um, I just found it. I'm going to send it to you on the chat. I think I can do that.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I just wonder if it's the same, like, like I don't eat rice now, but like if someone were to eat the cooked rice with sprouted beans, would that be a good combination?
Rice with sprouted beans. It's interesting. It seems to me, and I'm not 100% certain here, this would be a good question to go back and research on your own. But I would say that, hold on a second.
Mhm.
Did you get this? Okay, something
And
funky happened.
21st Century Home says that the fasting is so bad eating when eat rice beans. Everyone says it's a complete protein.
The gas, the gas is so bad. Yes. Okay, I just sent it to you through Instagram. That was the only way
Okay,
I could send it.
okay, cool.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. You have to send it to me. I can't open the Instagram because now it's on live. Par
oh,
email. Can you send it to me by email?
yes, yes, I do have your email. Okay. Let me just do this real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, so 21st Century Homestead, do you mean by like, oh, the furting? Oh, zero furting. Okay, repeat that word.
I, okay, I just emailed it to you. We got it in there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I know what you mean, and see, this is the thing about food combining is that I have found that it actually does work. It actually does work. And here's the reason why. So I was about to get to this before I got interrupted by my tech problems. Timing, and that's what the chart is that I'm going to show you. So fruit digests faster than everything else. So the philosophy is that you start with fruit, either in the morning. So I know some food combining philosophy says that you actually shouldn't eat until noon. So there's also an intermittent fasting component to it. But if you were to eat early, you would start with fruit. Always fruit on an empty stomach. And the reason why gas is an issue is because fermentation starts to take place if you put a fast digesting food like fruit on top of a slower digesting food. So say you eat a salad with beans on it. Okay, let's say you're doing everything right, but you've gotten it out of order. So you're doing a salad with beans. And then after that, you have some fruit for dessert. So the fruit takes about 30 minutes to digest, but the savory vegetable or the low starch vegetable, the greens, and the beans take like closer to an hour. So you've got the first food in there that's been, your body has been in the process of trying to digest it already since you started eating it. And then once you finish, let's say it takes you like 30 minutes to finish your salad, then you put the fruit on top of it. And I guess it might work out okay, but if you were to add fruit on top of something that's a little more dense with, like, say, a lot of nuts on it or like a nut-based dressing, you might run into some problems. Like you might start to feel bloated, or that's the philosophy. I have to say, I have found that to be true for the most part in my life. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't like following food combining principles, so I like to convince myself otherwise. But the truth is, I do feel my best whenever I follow these. Okay, so you can see this chart now. So the fruit, you can see the fruit category is actually, it's categorized into three separate groups. There's the acidic fruits, and then there's the subacid fruits. And you see that the digestion time is longer depending on, I guess, the amount of sugar that you have. And also it's interesting to note water content. So in the acid fruits, there's the most water content. With the exception of mangoes, I would say mangoes have a pretty, and grapes have a pretty high amount of water. But these sweet fruits like bananas are very starchy, you know? They're a starch before they become super ripe. Dates they don't have a lot of water in them. Figs, raisins, persimmons, yeah, these are very low water fruits, and water is essential for the digestive process, you know? All right, so then there's the low starch vegetables, the greens, the what we call fruiting vegetables. So zucchini and celery, not celery, zucchini, bell peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, those are technically fruits, but they're savory, so we call them vegetables. And you'll notice that the digestion rate is comparable to fruits. Same thing with the greens. So the thing that triggered this topic was Ra Chef Yin's post last week, and somebody had sort of like nutrition shamed her for combining her greens with some fruit. And I was like, I was intrigued to see that her response was kind of like, I don't understand, why is this a problem? So I was like, this topic gets brought up a lot, so we should talk about it on the podcast.
True.
And
Yeah, that's a great call. Yeah.
yeah, so you can see that greens are not a problem. Where we really start to feel it and we start to wonder if there's something to this whole food combining thing is when we bring in starches, legumes, nuts and seeds, high fat fruits like avocados and coconuts. That's when we start to like when I was doing this, I spent a few years really trying to live by these principles. And I could tell that it really did make a difference. But you hear stories all the time. I eat fruit after dinner all the time. And I believe my body has acclimated to it. But if I wanted to go hardcore, like if, say, I had like 5 pounds to lose, or I just was feeling kind of sluggish, tired, or if something was nagging at me, maybe my skin's flaring up, I might go hardcore on this food combining principle and wait and see if it helps clear things up.
Okay. First of all, you made this chart yourself?
Yes, and it's just based
Wow.
on what I've learned. It's just I just copied, stuff that I in my personal
Oh,
notes.
that's great. That makes a huge difference. I love I am a very visual person, so it
Mhm.
helps to see it this way. It's very well organized. So thank you so much, Bella. And let's oh, not to shame uh, um, raw chef Yin.
Yeah.
What are the things that you wouldn't do? What she has posted?
Um, I can't say that I've seen anything that I would personally not do. I think she and I are actually on the same page. And which is why I thought it was interesting that her post revealed to me that she didn't really know for sure. Like she's a chef, right? So she probably doesn't have as much of the nutrition training, but her intuition is on point. I don't necessarily look at every single post, but every post that I have seen, I don't see anything objectionable about her food combination. She seems to have a good intuition.
Oh, interesting. Um, I see she mixed with salad with grapes
Mm-hmm.
often, like
Okay.
fresh grapes. So I
Mm-hmm.
think like I don't think not so much of a food combination. I love eating grapes on its own. So I would have never put the grapes in the salad. Uh, I might add some raisins,
Mm-hmm.
like like a carrot rape,
Mm-hmm.
lemon. I don't usually add fruits in my salad, but yeah.
So, according to food combining principles, if you really wanted to go 100% um, by the book, you would not put dried fruits in your salad. You wouldn't even combine dried fruits with fresh fruits. Uh, but that's why I say this is a soft science slash philosophy in a lot of ways, where you have to really be willing to be the experimental subject. You have to try out the rules as they're described by the original creator, see how you feel, and then if you really like if you really like raisins in your salad, try adding them and see if it really makes a significant difference. My guess is it's not going to make a significant difference.
Yeah, I don't do it much, but when I do it, I don't really see that much. But I remember before going vegan or raw vegan, I remember which I don't in the States they had this salad with some cheese and raisins and like
Mm.
cranberries. That I used to love. I think it was with blue cheese.
Oh yeah, I
I
remember.
love, yeah, the fat and sugar is always it's addiction.
We should have a podcast where we talk about that, the pleasure trap, the fat, oil, and I'm sorry, the fat, sugar, and salt combination.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Um, so um, I don't see that much of a difference, but I think one smoothies recipe
Mhm.
that was, because I was following this food combination strictly in the beginning, because
Mhm.
well, first, right away for a few weeks into raw vegan, I was just eating whatever.
Mhm.
My friend was mentioning that, Kiko, you shouldn't combine fat and sugar and certain fruits, even within certain fruits, you shouldn't combine. And then I started to, do hardcore food combination. And then, so I wasn't doing things like starchy fruits and acidic fruits. So, like, you see a lot of bananas and orange
Mm.
smoothies on,
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
Instagram. And
Right.
it used to shock me in the beginnings, like, wow, like I would never combine that starchy and, like acidic fruits. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want to mention that?
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. My smoothie that I eat every day is breaking a rule because I always include some kind of omega-3 seed, like flax seeds or chia seeds, sometimes hemp seeds. every single smoothie. I never skip that ingredient. And my fruit, the only fruit I use in my smoothie are bananas. So other than adding the seeds, everything in my smoothie is well combined. Like I use my smoothie consists of spinach, bananas, water, and then I use a lot of powders like spirulina powder, which is high in protein. So you could argue that that's also breaking the rules. And like I said, the seeds. Uh, what else? Cacao powder. I put cacao powder in there, which is a fruit technically. It's probably in the, I don't know, subacid fruit, I think. I don't even know what cacao would be considered. Maybe fat. I don't know.
So you
Actually,
usually, so in your morning smoothies, you add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, I think,
hmm
1 or 2 bananas,
hmm
and then you add like 1 head of romaine lettuce,
spinach.
a spinach,
Yeah.
and do you add like apple
Nope. I don't add any other fruit.
or just banana?
Just banana.
Oh,
That's really based on my taste, to be honest. I'm
yeah,
not
I
trying to
love.
accomplish anything.
Yeah, I love baby banana, baby spinach and banana. That's a
Yeah,
great combination.
I love it. Yeah.
But I
But
wonder though that omega 3 fatty acids reacts the same to other seasoned nuts. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
mm,
I do always add chia seeds into my smoothies as well.
it's a really good question because I always understood that flax and, oh, Apple says maybe cacao's a dried fruit. That's a really good point. Yeah. So it might be in that sweet fruit category, even though it's not so high in sugar. But yeah, maybe you're right. But yeah, I was always under the impression and experience that flax seeds and chia seeds assist in digestion. So I'm thinking if you really wanted to try it the true way, you would not include those seeds in your smoothie. But if you wanted to have just the chia seeds, you might avoid something like almond butter. Like you wouldn't want to put
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like heavy dense fat that doesn't have any digestive properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people add it on purpose. Like for example, Dr. Brooke Goldner's this protocol in her protocol, she always suggests to add it's like um, 3 tablespoons or even more of chia or flax seeds, and
Mhm.
that slows the our metabolism, and
Hmm.
also that helps to not to digest too fast. That would cause indigestion. Like so, it's she says that in her protocol, it just actually helps to better digest in a way. And
I find it helpful. I do find I never miss flax seeds or chia seeds. I never miss that in my smoothie every single day. Apple says my smoothies, I think she's talking about me. My smoothies sound very similar to hers or his. Sorry. I don't know if Apple is a guy or girl. But yeah, I wonder, do you like, how long have you been doing that and how does it feel for you? Because there are so many different ways to make smoothies. David's smoothies that I make for him every morning always contain another kind of fruit. He likes a fruitier smoothie. So I put mango in his or blueberries. Those are the two that I tend with just like my smoothie, but I add mango or blueberries because he just likes that. He likes the taste, and especially blueberries, they're so high in antioxidants. So if it doesn't affect your digestion, then I don't see the problem.
oh, it's interesting. I've actually forgotten that orange and pineapple is in the same category. I do add banana. I combine banana and pineapple, but I don't seem to have issues. But when I do banana and oranges for a long period of time, I seem to have issues.
Bananas and oranges. Okay. Yeah, citrus fruits. I feel like you have to be very careful when you eat them. It does, in my
Mhm.
experience at least, it's better to eat them on an empty stomach. Uh, but some people, they just train their system to handle it. A lot of raw vegans who have been doing raw for a long time, they'll eat oranges after a salad, watermelon after a salad. That's the other thing is watermelon. Melon is supposed to be, according to this philosophy, it's supposed to be eaten separate from everything.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't even combine it with other fruits.
Mhm.
It needs to be eaten on its own. It digests faster than all the other fruits, which I actually find to be true. I do
Yeah.
find that sometimes, because I love watermelon, it's one of my favorite foods, and I've been like, I really want a watermelon in the afternoon, and afterwards I'm like, you know better. Why did you do that?
But I think people who eat um like oily diet
Hmm.
has to be a little more careful in terms of this food combination. So like if you were to eat very heavy oily dinner and
Hmm.
you have acidic fruits in the morning, some people might have that window of sleeping period of time might not be enough. It might be sitting in your stomach, right?
It's a good point, especially because we are primarily talking about the vegan lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
raw vegan mostly, or high raw. But you're right. I have it's been a while since I looked at a chart to see how long the various animal foods digest, but it takes a long time, especially I believe red meat is the highest or the longest. It takes the longest time to digest. I mean, we're talking a really long time. And you're right. Like if you have red meat for dinner and then you eat breakfast really early in the morning, you're going to have some, it seems to me like if you are in that category and you're struggling with indigestion and other digestive problems, you might want to think about food combining. I think you're right. I think maybe for raw vegans and vegans, well, for a lot of people in the beginning, it's overwhelming to take in all of this fiber, to take in especially the raw vegetables that are like very dense, broccoli and carrots, beets. These things are low water vegetables and they can be really hard to digest. So, people who are just starting out with this lifestyle and people who are still eating meat and other animal products, food combining could be a lifesaver for them.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, so Apple has said smoothie is mostly a mix of greens and other cruciferous. Wow, bonus points for you. I really admire people who put like, I'm assuming by cruciferous you mean like cauliflower or broccoli. Not, I mean, maybe you meant
Kale. Yeah.
kale is
Yeah.
cruciferous.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I can't do it. I can't. But that's a powerful smoothie you got there. That's really good stuff there.
Yeah, I think yeah, Apple did, and in another conversation, she mentioned that she was following, she was doing Dr. Brooke Goldner's style smoothies, which is lots of flax seeds, or the chia seeds, and then crucified veggies. So
Mhm.
kale. We have quite a few crucified veggies. So sometimes I do broccoli, frozen broccoli,
Wow.
which is pretty good actually. It becomes kind of milder. And Mizuna, Mizuna is like a very thin. You might get that in LA. That's also it's kind of spicy, and
Mm.
also komatsuna. Is a master green veggie. That's available. Those are available all year round. So, and kale is a bit difficult for us to get it. I have to go to Costco to get it. But I usually do frozen kale. If not, if I just run out, so I'm doing mizuna or komatsuna as a base.
Mm,
and yeah, I do bananas and usually pineapples.
amazing. That's really impressive. And Apple says, yeah, cauliflower and cabbage. Man, I really respect you guys. I save my cruciferous vegetables for my salads for later. I love my smoothie so much. I've been drinking the same smoothie for 11 years.
That's
And
amazing. You don't change the recipe for 11 years?
no, the only thing I've changed is I've added new powders, like I've added more stuff like that. But the base, the flavor base has not changed. I like the flavor base. I'm a creature of habit. I don't want to change it.
Wow, that's great though. Like I get tired some after some time. How about maca powder? You mentioned about cacao powder.
I just started putting maca in my smoothie during my when I was writing the beauty food series, during the stress week, stress and diet, which I'll be talking about a lot more in the upcoming series, which is going to be all about mental health and raw food and diet. So maca will come up again, but yeah, I put that in my smoothie now every day. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
how
trying to
do you
think.
like the taste?
The taste, it does stand out. It does change the flavor of my smoothie, but I've gotten used to it and I don't mind the taste. If I really hated it, I would just be like, nope, I'm going to get it in some other way.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I added maca powder because of
Mhm.
this amazing benefit, and it's supposed to be a great, like mental health, like our
Adaptogenic.
yeah, and the feeling like it's supposed to cheer us up,
Mhm.
especially taking it in the morning. So I like adding it, but I don't. It changes so much in my smoothie that I don't like adding it. Oh, another thing I like adding, I don't do it all the time, but mixed berries in my
Mhm.
smoothie that makes a huge difference in taste. I love the taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixed berries and mango are great for overpowering any flavor that you don't like. Like I said, I make David's smoothie with mango and sometimes blueberries. Sometimes I'll use mixed berries. But my main reason for using the mango is because it is such an overpowering sweet flavor, and I put powders in his smoothie, and he's very finicky about that, and I'm trying to keep him alive and thriving. So it's like I feel like sometimes like a parent like trying to like sneak broccoli into her kids
I
dinner.
do the same. I do the same. I do add like sprouts.
Yeah.
So yeah, for my husband, he likes like very sweet chocolatey flavor.
Mm.
So for snacks, I like cacao powder and then sprouts, and he doesn't even notice that sprout taste.
There you go. Okay, so we got 21st Century Homestead says, "Well, mad respect for you wonderful ladies with the green smoothie. Thank you." Yeah, we got a lot of good green smoothie power. I think that the green smoothie is probably the most important part of my whole day.
Yeah.
And I tell people whenever somebody is trying to change their life and they want to start with nutrition and they don't know where to begin, I'll really emphasize the green smoothie. I'll tell them no matter what you do, like if you fall backwards at lunchtime and dinner and you eat your old stuff, if you just get your green smoothie in the morning, you can probably get all of your necessary nutrients in that one green smoothie. If you plan it right, if you put the right stuff in it, you know?
I totally agree that green smoothie is so important
Mhm.
for me. And I have, as I've been mentioning, I have this very intense work coming up. And with one of my clients, I have to be in a hotel for 5 days because the whole week I'm with them. So I just got myself portable
A blender?
the blender, yeah, and yeah, because I mean I could make I could bring Vitamix, but it would be just too heavy, and I think too noisy in hotel. So I got myself on that, and yeah, and it should be very easy. Like starting in morning, it makes a huge difference when I start with if I don't start with these green smoothies, it would make my whole day so different, like sluggish or not in a good mood. You don't want to be around me too close when I don't
Mhm.
eat it that way.
I hear you. So I just looked over here and I realized there's another chart that we won't go through the process. And in the future, I'll remember to email all charts to you, anything visual that I want to show. So instead, I'll just describe this. I have this other chart that I actually copied from one of my textbooks, which is, I was saying that the reason why food combining is controversial is because one of the main ideas has been debunked, that when you eat something, your pancreas releases the enzymes necessary to break down carbohydrate, protein, and fat. But we have on this chart here, which is still up here, we can see that we still have food groups, and a lot of them are kind of based on the dominant macro. So your fruits are mostly, the calories mostly come from carbohydrates. Same thing with the vegetables, low starch and starch. But the legumes have a high amount of protein, which compared to the starches and the fruits, they go into the protein category,
Mhm.
even though they're a legume and so they have a lot of starch. And you were asking me about sprouted legumes. Like what? And I was too distracted to really give a good answer.
Mm.
And I think it's a good question to ask. And I don't really have a good answer. I don't feel comfortable saying, but my theory is that it would be worth looking this up, is that it almost acts like a green in a way.
I think so. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a alfalfa sprout comes from a seed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do think that goes, I mean, from what I understood, greens goes with everything.
Yeah.
And that's for this year, I've been being mindful of adding greens in everything I eat. So you eat like a chocolate smoothies that I used to make. I never added any greens, but I might sneak in some sprouts or even mint, like some herbs. And yeah, that seems to be working really well. I don't have that much of an issue. Again, like if I were on a very heavy or like oily side, like like heavy nuts diet, I have to be a little more careful, especially with acid fruits.
Yeah, well, you can see it in this chart that nuts and seeds take 2.5 to 3.5 hours to digest. That's a
Mm,
long time. So you have those nuts and seeds in your system while you're eating other foods. You're not filling up on nuts and seeds. So you have that in your body. Your body is trying to process it. And then
mhm.
maybe you go and you eat some fruit as a snack. And then you can see why you might have some bloating or some gas. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and
Um,
then I wasn't eating, like adding chia seeds. Like before, I used to add 1 tablespoon into my green smoothies, but as I was trying Dr. Brooke Goldner's protocol, I started adding 3 tablespoons, and then first week I was feeling great, and then going to 10 days, I felt like, like a full blown pregnant woman. I couldn't, it made it difficult for to breathe even. But
mm,
I do the same thing now, and then I'm fine. So it was about stretching, like maybe fiber or and fats, and my body adapted it, and yeah, I love it. I even add more than 3 tablespoons now.
mm. Wow. Yeah, I love chia seeds and flax seeds. I don't have any issues with them ever. And I upped my I still only do about 1 tablespoon, but I was actually trying for a little while to get more. Like I started adding during the beauty food series, during the chapter, the week on fats, and I started purposely trying to put hemp seeds in my salad dressing. I fell off that habit. So I'm gonna start doing that again, especially once I get into the next series, because there's something about fats that it's really important for your hormones, and
Mm-hmm.
hormones affect your mental health big time. So
Mm-hmm.
got to have enough healthy fat in there. And I figure, well, let's focus on the omega-3 fats. That's where all the gold is. So
Yeah.
yeah, for when I'm really on top of things, I'm eating a lot of flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, a lot, and sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, like the whole day I have seeds in every single meal.
Mm. Yeah, it might be worthwhile for us to do omega-3 fatty acids, the balance of fatty acids. But I've realized this year that omega-3 fatty acids is very difficult to get. Like you have to be very, very mindful. And, walnuts is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. But if you just eat walnuts, you'll be heavy on omega-6,
You're right.
so yeah, I have to eat almost even, force myself to add the chia seeds or flax seeds in every meal that I eat.
It's true. It's a little discouraging to see how much effort has to be made to get enough omega-3 in one's diet. It makes you realize that most people are walking around deficient in omega-3s and too much omega-6, which explains why there's so much disease in the world. It's inflammation. You get inflammation when you have too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. And it's weird to think that it's not really that hard. It's just that it takes effort because there aren't as many foods that contain a high level of omega-3. So you're right, you really do have to be aware. You have to make an effort to get it in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And apple day, she mentioned she wasn't sure, but maybe mango and banana is in the same category. I would
Mm,
there's a acidic side, but you know what I'll do? I haven't had breakfast yet, so today instead of adding pineapples with bananas, I would add banana and mango and
okay.
try for next 10 days or so. But
Hmm.
I have to admit that I like that sweet acidic combination. So maybe I
Yeah.
might add berries on top of that.
Another good, I like if you want to have a little bit of an acidic sweetness added with less consequence, lemon is really good. You can add a peeled lemon to a smoothie. I used to do that. That was actually when I was doing Kimberly Snyder's beauty detox protocol. Her smoothie is romaine lettuce, spinach, celery, a whole lemon peeled, and a whole green apple chopped up, and water, and that's it. And
So there's no skin of lemon.
no skin of the lemon. You just peel the lemon with a knife. It's really good. And the lemon is really essential to the flavor profile. It has a similar experience on the tongue as mango, but like mango is very high in sugar and lemon is not. So you can kind of get a similar experience with the
Okay,
flavor.
can you repeat that again? What was the
Her
recipe?
smoothie, uh, a head of romaine lettuce,
Mm-hmm.
um, some spinach,
Mm-hmm.
some celery, a green apple, and a whole green lemon, and water as the base.
Yeah, because apple is not so starchy, so it would go
And it's
okay.
lower in sugar. Yeah, exactly. It's another thing about smoothies in regards to food combining is that because it's blended up, you skip the whole first process of the digestive process. It's
Mm-hmm.
already chewed, and it's actually chewed better than you probably would chew it in your own mouth. You know what I
True.
mean?
Yeah.
So smoothies are just fantastic for getting all the like as many nutrients as possible in your body. Because a lot of the reason why we don't, one of the reasons why we don't always absorb all the nutrients is because we don't really chew enough. You know, I just noticed the time, and I know that you and I both have to finish in an hour. So I'm going to real quick say something before we finish up. And the chart I was mentioning earlier, I'm looking at it on my monitor over here, is that it organizes the food groups that are on the chart that we have up here, and it describes the amount of carbohydrate, protein, and fat in each one, which I think is it's a really good thing for people like us who really are serious about our health to memorize, that to understand also that every food contains carbohydrates, protein, and fat. But our job as self healers is to understand what the main macro is. Like fruits and vegetables contain mostly carbohydrates. Fruits contain 89% carbohydrates and 6% protein and 5% fat. So even fruit contains protein and fat. And then the vegetables contain a little more protein, a little more fat, but around the same amount of carbohydrates. And then nuts and seeds, it's interesting. They have like a super high amount of fat, 73%, but they also have 16% carbohydrate and 11% protein. Now, I know that like sometimes when people say numbers, like things get scrambled in the cognition. So since we don't have the chart, I won't say anymore. But basically what I'm saying is it's worth investigating. Like just do a quick Google search on which macro does the food group get most of its calories? Fruits, carbohydrates; vegetables, carbohydrates; nuts and seeds, fat, but they all contain each macro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, I really appreciate this chart. It's a good place to check on time to time, if especially when you're having some issues on digestion. But what I learned is that add leafy greens in anything you can. Like if you can sneak in leafy greens, so that's why a lot of people in raw vegan community they would eat banana with wrapped lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it unless I do it in smoothies. But yeah, that
Yeah,
some people might have that sugar, um, how do you call it, like a sugar drop high. Um, they might react to some very heavy, like high concentrated sugar fruits like
yeah.
bananas. So they might digest better,
Hmm.
better with just like leafy veggies.
I agree. I think that greens are the great neutralizer. So they help neutralize the level of sugar with your fruit. They add some important antioxidants. Um, Antioxidants you just won't get in fruit. I mean, there are antioxidants in fruits, but that chlorophyll is so powerful in the greens, which I know we want to. I wanted to talk about that on one of these weeks with you because I committed a whole week to chlorophyll on my blog. That's how much I love chlorophyll. I love greens. It's like the most to me. If you ask me what my favorite antioxidant is, I would say chlorophyll. It's just incredible. Like when you put a lot of it in your diet, it makes such a difference.
Oh, great! I'm so excited for that coming
I
up.
hear myself talking, which is why I'm laughing. I'm like, you're such a nerd.
I love it. I love a nerd.
An ode to chlorophyll. I feel like I should write a poem.
Fantastic. I love learning, keep on learning and refreshing our mind because sometimes, you just get busy and do your own routine and start adding things that you might not have if you knew this. And it's a good reminder. So,
Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Kiko, for meeting with me again. And thank you, Apple and 21st Century Homestead, for chatting with us. It's nice having your comments. And I love I love our little community that we're just in the beginning stages. It's only episode number 2. So we're off to a good start.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you. I love learning from you, also, Bella. And yeah, thank you for being your generosity and sharing your knowledge on this.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's super fun for me.
Great.
So yeah. Yeah. And if anybody needs help, I do private coaching. So they can
Mhm.
always reach out to me on my Instagram page. Yeah, I love talking about this stuff, and I hope it's helpful. I hope that it helps some people figure out we're all on this, we're all solving a mystery that is our health, our own personal health profile, and we're all trying to figure out what to do to feel better and to feel good.
Mm,
Every bit of information helps. So I hope that something helped today.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. And I'll see you maybe in a week.
Yeah, sounds good. Bye, everybody. Bye, Kiko. Thank
Bye.
you.